every playoff run for that team has that team's X factor. Whether it's a guy like Steve Pearce 2018, Jorge Soler, or guys like Miguel Rojas last year. Every team that makes the World Series and goes on a big run has that X factor that comes out a little of nowhere in the playoffs and gives that team the extra boost they need to go on a deep run. In today's video, I'm going through every playoff team and giving you who I think their X factor will be for the 2026 MLB playoffs. Before we get into it, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below, hit that like button, and comment down below who you think your team's X factor will be. Starting with my World Series pick, the Milwaukee Brewers. And I think their X factor is simple. It's Jackson Chourio. He's by far their best offensive player, and they're going to need their offense to show up big in the playoffs. They're going to get great starts from guys like Mizorowski, Dustin May, even Kyle Harrison, and they just need that offense to give it the thump they need. Jackson Chourio is that type of player. He has the type of potential to change a whole series. We saw last year with the Brewers that if they are not hitting well in the playoffs, they're not going to win. They got swept by the Dodgers last year, and if they continue to go slow in the playoffs on offense, they're going to get swept again. But I think Jackson Chourio is going to have that breakout performance this playoff run. He has the experience in the playoffs from the past 2 years, and I think he has a deep playoff run in him and a great playoff run in him with multiple home runs, multiple go-ahead hits that will help the Brewers make the World Series and ultimately win the World Series, in my opinion. Next up, it's the Chicago Cubs, the Brewers' rival, and I think their main X factor is the guy they got at the trade deadline in Kevin Gausman. If Kevin Gausman can be the ace on the mound, the number one guy for the Cubs in the playoffs like he was for the Blue Jays last year, this Cubs team can go on a deep run. They have the offense to do it, and they have the defense behind Gausman to help him out. However, Kevin Gausman, throughout his playoff career, has had his ups and downs. Before last year, he had playoff starts with a 6 ERA for the last 3 years, but last year he was dominant. He was nails. In 6 starts, he had a 2.93 ERA, helping the Blue Jays get to the World Series and almost winning the World Series. If Kevin Gausman can duplicate what he did last year in the playoffs for the Cubs, I think the Cubs are going to be dangerous in the NL playoffs and can go on a deep run, but it's all going to come behind their deadline acquisition of Kevin Gausman and whether he can be the pitcher he was last year or if he's going to go back to form from the playoffs like he did a couple of years back. In 2021, he had a 6 ERA in the playoffs. 2022, 6.3. 2023, a 6.7 ERA in the playoffs. It's really what type of Kevin Gausman you're going to get, and it's really going to come down to it for the Chicago Cubs, whether they can win the World Series or whether they're going to be a wild card exit. We're just going to have to find out with what Kevin Gausman they get. Next, the Chicago White Sox, another pitcher, and it's going to be Sean Burke. Sean Burke has been absolutely nails this year, for the past 2 months, but he doesn't have that playoff experience. The White Sox haven't made the playoffs since 2021, and Sean Burke is the ace of this staff right now, and he's going to have to show up big time. If he can produce like he's been producing, this White Sox team's dangerous. And if guys like behind him, like Luis Castillo and Davis Martin, can be consistent behind him, and Sean Burke is throwing his fastball, which is one of the best in the league, at a great rate and a successful rate, this White Sox team can go the distance. They have the offense to be with anyone in any single game in the playoffs. They have thumpers like Murakami, Kosa Montgomery, Miguel Vargas, consistent hitters like Chase Maidroth and Sam Antonacci, which will help this offense stay afloat in the playoffs going against bigger powerhouses. But it's all going to come down to the pitching. This whole year, the Chicago White Sox have lacked starting pitching, and they don't have great depth. But if Sean Burke can be that number one like he's been for the past couple months for this White Sox team, the ceiling is the limit, and who knows? They could surprise a lot of people. Well, I don't think they were going to make the World Series. Who knows? The AL is weak this year. Could a team like the White Sox surprise everyone? And that's going to be behind their biggest X factor this playoffs. They're the south side of Chicago, being Sean Burke. Next up, the New York Yankees, and it's pretty simple, man. It's that boy Aaron Judge. If Aaron Judge shows up in the playoffs and he is the Aaron Judge like he is in the regular season, it's the same story every single year. Is Aaron Judge going to show up in the playoffs? Most likely he doesn't, and he hasn't most of his career. Even more this year, he's coming off a big injury, fracturing his ribs. If he comes back and he is not even close to 100%. I don't think the Yankees have what it takes to even make it past the wild card series. It's all on Aaron Judge this year. If he comes back even at 70% of what he is as a playoff performer, the Yankees are going to be in deep, deep trouble, and it's going to be because of Aaron Judge. He's missed so much time this year. It's going to be a struggle. It's going to be hard for him to be the player we all know he is and can be in the regular season into the playoffs. He's never really been a playoff performer. Even last year, he didn't have a great postseason. And Aaron Judge, it's all going to come down to you. Are you ever going to get a ring with that Yankees team? That ceiling, that window is closing. He's getting older. He's in his 30s, and it's about a matter of time whether he shows up or shows out. And I don't really believe in Aaron Judge, but he is the biggest X factor for the New York Yankees this playoff run. And whether they're going to get their first ring since 2009, it's only going to be on Aaron Judge's bat and whether he can produce at a consistent level. Next, a team that's on the fringe of the playoffs, but I think will end up making it in, is the Philadelphia Phillies. And their biggest X factor is their third starting pitcher, Jesus Luzardo. We know what we're going to get from guys like Christopher Sanchez and Zach Wheeler. Those two are two of the most consistent and dominant pitchers in the MLB. But it's all going to come down to this man, Jesus Luzardo, and whether he can perform in the playoffs or not. Through his playoff career, through 6 starts, he has a 4.84 ERA and he's 0-4. That's not a recipe for success in the playoffs, but they need him to step up big. Last year, he had a great postseason. In 2 games, he had a 2.3 ERA in 7 innings. That's what they need from him. They need him to be that Game 3 starter who they feel very confident on the mound. He was an all-star this year. He's been absolutely amazing, rocking a 3.2 ERA, which is one of the top in baseball, and he has been dominant this year, and they need him to continue that in the playoffs. If he doesn't, it's going to be scary for the Phillies because they do not have starting pitching depth. But if you have a consistent 3-man rotation of Sanchez, Wheeler, and Luzardo, this team can beat anyone in any series, even the Dodgers, even the Brewers, even the Cubs, you name it. Those 3 starting pitchers is probably the best starting pitcher trio in the whole MLB. And if Jesus Luzardo is consistent as he is in the regular season this playoff run, watch out for the Phillies because if that offense gets hot behind these pitchers, they can win the World Series like they made it in 2021 or 2022. They can get back there while this window is closing, but it's not fully closed yet for the city of Philadelphia. Next, the Houston Astros, it's all going to rely on one guy. If Hunter Brown can be the ace caliber pitcher we know he can be, this Houston Astros team could go deep. However, if he's not, they have no chance. Absolutely zero. They don't have great starting pitching behind him, and they need him to absolutely shove every single game he pitches if they want a chance to go on any type of run. The offense is inconsistent at times, but with guys like Yordan Alvarez and Jeremy Pena leading the helm, this offense can keep them in any game, but it's all going to come down to the starting pitching, and if Hunter Brown isn't producing at the way we want him to produce, the Astros are not going to do much in this playoffs, and I think they're one of the weaker teams in the playoff picture right now, and that's only going to be true if Hunter Brown isn't sharp as he can be. We saw it last night. He wasn't very sharp against the Mariners, walking guys left and right, but if Hunter Brown can do what he did last year and be that ace caliber pitcher for the Astros, who knows? Could they make it back to the World Series like they were doing every single year? It's all going to come down to Hunter Brown for the city of Houston. Let's get on next for the team that made big deals at the deadline, and it's going to rely on those 2 guys, Casey Mize and Robbie Ray, for the San Diego Padres. They acquired these guys to be the top end of their rotation for the playoffs. You need these guys starting game 2 and 3 or game 1 and 2, any one of these games. It's really going to come down to these guys. That offense is getting hot, but they don't have the greatest starting pitching in the world, and they need these guys to be at their A game. But Robbie Ray has not had a great postseason history. Through 6 games played in the playoffs, he has a 7.43 ERA. His last playoff run was with the Mariners in 2022, 3 games played and a 12 ERA. You need Robbie Ray to be his Cy Young self that we saw with Toronto Blue Jays if the Padres want any type of chance to go on a deep run. If these 2 guys aren't on their A game, aren't shoving, the Padres have 0 chance. They just need to get to that bullpen, throw 5 strong innings, get to that bullpen, get to guys like Bradley Rodriguez, Adrian Morjon, and Mason Miller to close out these games. It's going to be a wild card series, and you need 2 great starts from these guys, and it's really going to come down to it. That offense is good enough. That bullpen is nasty. You just got to get through 5 innings from Casey Nyes or Robbie Ray to keep the game close, keep it within striking distance, because once you hand it off to the bullpen, that other team is not going to score any more runs. So you just give your offense a chance to do it, and that's why these 2 starters who they acquired at the trade deadline, A.J. Preller went all in. He went in and got 2 of the best starting pitchers on the market at the trade deadline because he believes in this team, and this team needs to show out for A.J. Preller like they haven't in the past. It's really their last chance, in my opinion. That farm system is absolutely depleted. So if they don't get it done this year, who knows if they'll ever get it done with the core of Machado, Tatis, Merrill, Bogarts, you name it. It's going to come down to these starting pitchers for the San Diego Padres. Next up is the Boston Red Sox, and their X factor is Roman Anthony. Roman Anthony has been hurt all year, basically, but he has a chance to make up for it if he goes on a great playoff run. If he is any sort of what he was last year when he came up, this Red Sox offense is going to be dangerous in the playoffs, and it's going to be even deeper. He's currently on a rehab assignment, so he's coming back soon. And Roman Anthony, man, he can really change the narrative of his season if he comes back and comes back strong, helping the Red Sox go on a deep playoff run and get past the wild card series for the first time since 2021. Roman Anthony last year, he was one of the top hitters in the league ever since he came up, and he was not really great when he was playing this year, but he has a chance to turn it all around. With him in that lineup gets deep. Roman Anthony, Cedar Rafael, Willie Abreu, Wilson Contreras, Adley Rutschman, Caleb Durbin, guys like Monasterio have been hot. And if Masataka Yoshida can come back healthy, this team is deep and it's dangerous. And this offense has been the Achilles heel all year round. But if you get a top bat like Roman Anthony at the top of that lineup, this offense is going to be scary and has a chance to make the World Series in the American League with that pitching staff and that bullpen. And Roman Anthony is going to be the face of this team if he can play well down the stretch. And he is going to win over the city of Boston once again. Next for the Rays, it's really simple for me. It's just the others. Guys other than Jonathan Aranda, Junior Caminero, and other than Yandy Diaz. Guys like Chandler Simpson need to step up. Ryan Vilade need to step up. Leon Hicks, Palacios, you name it. Anyone other than their big 3, if any of them step up and have a big playoffs, this team is going to win the World Series. If you get contributions from guys like Chandler Simpson creating havoc on the base paths, it's only going to make this team harder to deal with because you have the best top 3 in the league with Aranda, Diaz, and Caminero, and they can win any game just on the back of those 3. But if you can get production from any of the others, this team is one of the scariest in the league. You know what you're going to get from the pitching. Nick Martinez, Shane McClanahan, Drew Rasmussen has been one of the best in the league. So if you just get production from the other guys, this team is going to do it, and they're going to do it well and go on a deep run. And I think they're my pick to make the World Series out of the American League. And I think they can win it all if they get production from their X factors like Chandler Simpson and Ryan Vilade. Second to last, the Atlanta Braves. It's really just anyone other than Chris Sale in that starting rotation. Man, after Chris Sale, that rotation is bleak, and it's really just a bunch of question marks. You need guys like Bryce Elder and Tyler Mahle to step up big time after Chris Sale, because Chris Sale, we know what he is. He's dominant. He's going to go into the playoffs and produce like he did in 2018 as long as he's healthy. But who starts Game 2 and Game 3 is the biggest question for the Atlanta Braves. If you get great starts from guys like Bryce Elder, Tyler Mahle, or Grant Holmes, the ceiling is the limit for this team. The offense absolutely rakes. They absolutely can win any game as long as they're close into it. And if that pitching staff can keep them in it, they have a strong bullpen. It just relies on the starters, other than Chris Sale, to get them through maybe 6 innings to get to guys like Didier Fuentes, Robert Suarez, Raisel Iglesias, Dylan Lee, any of those guys. And you feel pretty confident as an Atlanta Braves fan if those guys can give you anything. But it's really a big question mark if they can actually give you anything. But we're here to see if guys like Bryce Elder or Grant Holmes or Tyler Mahle can step up and be a man, not a mouse, and put their balls to the wall and help the city of Atlanta get back to the World Series. Finally, the World Series favorite, but who knows, with this guy as their closer. Edwin Diaz has been absolutely terrible, and he's the biggest X factor for this team. If you have a weak bullpen in the playoffs, you are not going to do anything. Edwin Diaz has the track record. He's been one of the best relievers in baseball for his whole career. But this year, man, what has happened? Ever since he came off the IL, he's been one of the worst pitchers in the league, probably the worst pitcher, blowing saves left and right. However, if he can get back to form, like I believe he has in him, this Dodgers team should be the favorite and will be the favorite, because if they have a dominant closer in the back end, following guys like Yamamoto, Skubal, Blake Snell, you name it, this team has no excuses. They have no weaknesses if their bullpen is clicking on all cylinders, and they should be the favorite to win the World Series, even though no one wants it to happen. But it's all going to rely on a guy like Edwin Diaz to be a dominant closer and close out games in the World Series, in the NLCS, in the NLDS, for this Dodgers team to reach the promised land. And that's going to do it. That's all my X factors for each MLB playoff team. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button down below for more MLB content for the rest of the year.